Black Lightning creator Tony Isabella attempted to get Isom creator Eric July canceled at San Diego Comic-Con this past weekend after July appeared at the CGC booth for a signing. Let's get into this here. So July announced he would be at the CGC booth at San Diego Comic-Con on July 21st to promote his CGC signature series of Isom. He tweeted 12 p.m. local, catch me at CGC Comics, CGC signature series booth 901. We then had this Twitter user, Check the Circuit, trying to cancel July. He said Eric July, in his own words, and a pick he loves embracing Kyle Rittenhouse. This is who CGC Comics chose to honor with a signing at Comic-Con and who San Diego Comic-Con honored to have a panel and booth. Disgusting and outright cruel, hurtful, and bigoted offense to the invitees and attendees. It seems like this is just clearly, I think, morally motivated, trying to take issue with Eric July's moral stances on transgender ideology and self-defense. Basically, it's outright projection, in my opinion. Everything Check the Circuit guy seems to be saying about Eric July is clearly about his own person, and he's lashing out about his own self-loathing and self-hatred just from looking at this tweet and the things he's trying to take issue with. Nevertheless, that guy's not really the big part of the story here. It's Tony Isabella who responded to that tweet, and he wrote this: "Come on, CGC and Comic-Con, you can do better than empowering and unsavory. To put it mildly, person like this, Jack Kirby would have punched him out." So I think Isabella is also here implying that Eric July is a Nazi, given that Kirby detailed in an interview published in 1990 he would, quote, beat the stuffing out of anyone who liked Hitler. And I think that is exactly what Isabella is saying here, that Eric July is a Nazi and that Jack Kirby would punch him out. And then he's obviously trying to cancel him because he's specifically going after CGC and Comic-Con. He's not going after Eric at all. He's specifically going after the people that Eric has partnered with in a business relationship, and he's trying to get them canceled. This is what Tony Isabella is trying to do. July even asked, would you like to discuss this? And then Isabella reveals exactly why he's trying to cancel Eric. He says, not in the least, your denial of the existence and validity of trans kids alone is enough to tell me I don't need to communicate with you further. So he's doing it all in the name of transgender ideology that thinks that men can become women and women can become men, and that in order to do that, you need to butcher yourselves, self-mutilate, do all kinds of surgery, bodily mutilation, just absolutely chemical castration, all kinds of sick, disgusting stuff. July replied saying, so instead you want to snipe and go after our partner's vendors, which is exactly what he did. I'm against mutilation of children. Minors are unable to consent, and it is evil to do such irreversible damage to them. What about that do you find so repugnant? I would even add that any kind of mutilation is repugnant, even when they're doing it when they're adults doing it. Clearly, those people are not in the right frame of mind. They're being advised by people that are leading them astray, have ulterior motives, and no one should be encouraging anyone or approving anyone to do any of that type of behavior, let alone children. So then Isabella eventually stopped responding to July in that thread, but he would continue to deride him in a separate thread that he created. He wrote, this morning, senior moment, commenting on a Comicsgate creep. He's talking about Eric July there. Disgusting behavior. No decent, rational human being should give a second of their time to discussing anything with people who think medically proven and valid healthcare for trans kids is mutilation. This guy is absolutely bonkers, insane now. He's doubling down on the whole transgender ideology, and he's actually saying that he doesn't think that that is mutilation when that is indeed what it is. You're chemically castrating these kids, and then when you're not doing that, you are absolutely mutilating them. And there's plenty of stories out there. This guy clearly is a science denier now as well. Just really sick stuff from Tony Isabella here. He continues saying, so now I'm being called a racist, and it's only a matter of time before Rich Johnston starts riding my butt again. He's talking about the bleeding cool guy. I doubt Rich Johnston is going to get involved in this because he probably has similar views to Isabella. I would wager. I'm not 100% sure, but that would be just my wild guess based on all the other things that he seems to promote. But this is Isabella clearly trying to present himself as a victim. This is what they always do. They come after you, and then they try to play victim when you push back against them. I don't think this tactic works anymore. I think so many people have seen through it, but they continue to resort to this because I do think still in our society this victimhood is high currency, but I do think that currency is losing how much it goes now. But he's clearly playing victim here. He then concluded the the thread saying, I fear I will be spending way too much time blocking these creeps. My fault for letting them get to me with their right-wing BS. Sorry, I don't consider... it's crazy that they're trying to take this moral issue of protecting children from being butchered by people, a clear moral issue, and trying to turn it into a political issue to score political points. It just shows how kind of depraved people like Tony Isabella are. Very, very sick stuff. This is not a political issue. This is a moral issue, and anyone trying to push this it's just wrong. They're wrong. It's sick. It's disgusting, and we need to call them out, and we need to call them out with a big giant voice. Because clearly someone like Tony Isabella seems to have like completely bought hook, line, and sinker into the propaganda. So we did get a video from Eric July. I'm not going to go through all of it, but he does kind of say what his position on the whole transgender ideology is. He says, children cannot consent. I want to be firm as I possibly can on this subject matter. And then he also says, and to do irreversible, irreparable damage, to do something like that is evil. Top surgery, bottom surgery. My position on this has been very consistent. Those are objectively bad things. I don't think I can say that any better. He is absolutely right. It is indeed evil. He would go on and say what this all boils down to is there are certain comic pros that are allowed, minority, especially on social media. I think he's saying here, if you like listen to the rest of his video, basically he's saying that there's a minority of comic pros on social media that think that they dominate the comic industry and can dictate what people can and can't say within the comic book industry. And he goes on and says, definitely after 2016, 2015, the whole Donald Trump phenomena, these guys just started coming out of the woodwork, and you found out how much they despise half the freaking voting population, half the non-voting population, and they take issue with folks. He then explains how he believes many of these comic pros are not happy about his success, with Isom believing they are the ones who, like I said, who own the comic book space. He said, Tony Isabella is an idiot. Certainly, I do take exception to him trying to go after people that I work with. That's what these guys love to do. Nothing's going to happen, but that is what it is. So Isabella then kind of responded to this video. I'm not sure if he actually watched it. It's unclear by his comments here, but he said, I've been told a Comicsgate clown. Again, he's still trying to deride Eric July on this here. Angered has done a YouTube video attacking me. No, he's pointing out what you said, and rightfully so. It's not attacking you. You launched the first attack, Mr. Isabella. Again, he's trying to play victim here. This is what these people do. They can never take responsibility for their own actions. It's always woe is me. He was the one who went after Eric July, tried to get him canceled first by going after CGC and San Diego Comic-Con. And then when July fired back, he's playing victim now. That is not how this works. We have the evidence. We have the receipts, Tony Isabella. You are wrong, and you're wrong in defending this position, taking the position you are in the first place. So you're doubling down on all kinds of wrong, and dare I say evil, as Eric July says, the transgender ideology you're promoting is indeed evil. He says, you don't need to post links to it here or send private messages to me. He's been in the comics industry for 5 minutes. I've been doing good, honorable work for over 50 years. I would not call anything you're doing right now good or honorable. Promoting transgender ideology is neither of those. He continues saying, I called him on his trans kids comments. Decent folks know trans kids exist. No, they do not. There's no such thing as a trans kid. A man cannot become a woman cannot become a man. A boy cannot become a girl, and a girl cannot become a boy. It's impossibility. It does not exist. It doesn't exist. Their healthcare needs are medically and morally valid. No, they are not. It is immoral. Trying to push this on children is immoral. It's immoral, Tony. The benefits of their receiving gender care are confirmed by our history. No, they are not. They should not be denied this care. Yes, they should. Butchering children should not be happening in the United States of America. He then declares that he's on the right side of history. Since I started working in comics, I'm still on the right side of history. He's not. No, you're not. Excuse me. He then goes on and says, I'm ignoring, blocking him, just as I'm doing with all of these fellow deplorable Comicsgate creeps as they make themselves known. I'm not scared of them. I'm disgusted by them. Again, I think people are absolutely morally disgusted by what you've been saying, promoting transgender ideology. Maybe you are. I doubt you are. I think you're probably more disgusted with yourself. And again, projection, just like the first guy that you responded to. I'll continue to do good, honorable work. No, you won't. Promoting transgender ideology is not good and honorable. I'll continue to be the best ally I can to the LGBTQ plus community because it's the decent thing to do, because it's the right thing to do. Thanks to all who have backed me in these noble pursuits. So as I like to do here on this channel, I like to point out when things are actually moral and immoral, and we have an authority on that. It's the Catholic Church, and Bishop Michael Burbidge of the Catholic Diocese of Arlington notes, gender-affirming medical or surgical interventions cause significant, even irreparable bodily harm to children and adolescents. These include the use of puberty blockers and, in effect, chemical castration to arrest the natural psychological and physical development of the healthy child, cross-sex hormones to induce the development of opposite sex, secondary sex characteristics, and surgery to remove an adolescent's healthy breasts, organs, and or genitals. These kinds of interventions involve serious mutilations of the human body and are morally unacceptable. Bishop Burbidge later declares to disregard or withhold information about the harms of pursuing transition or about the benefits of alternative psychotherapeutic treatments constitutes a failure in both justice and charity. And so I think that applies to Mr. Tony Isabella there, as he is clearly trying to disregard or withhold information about the harms of pursuing transition when he's trying to say it's good and honorable. So that is what is going on. Tony Isabella is attacking Eric July, trying to get him canceled at San Diego Comic-Con. Unfortunately, I don't think it has worked. It's probably actually garnered more press for Eric July and allowed him to sell more books of Isom Number 2, as he has now gone over $2 million. But I do think we still need to call this stuff out, because you have people like Tony Isabella trying to cancel people from appearing at San Diego Comic-Con and doing a creator signing. Absolutely disgusting and sick stuff. And the fact that he thinks he's being good and honorable is it's despicable. It's absolutely despicable.